Hi everyone, it's Todd Nauck and I'm back with another sketch video. This time I'm doing a Venom commission on a Superior Foes of Spider-Man sketch cover. And these are a lot of fun to draw on. I really like that Marvel and now DC and many other publishers will produce these sketch covers. They're a lot of fun to do a commission on. So this is a Venom piece I'm doing here. I kind of teased this at the end of my Spider-Man series. I'd be drawing a commission of a Spider-Man villain, and this is it. So I'm starting off with my Pentel Twist Erase mechanical pencil, a .5 lead with HB softness. It's my favorite uh, softness of lead to work with. It's just soft enough that I can get good flow, but it's not so soft that the ink doesn't um, absorb into the board. If you're using too soft of a lead, you're going to get smudging, which I see a lot of y'all have been asking me of late, either posted in comments or in emails, is about smudging and smearing. So I'm going to try to address that some in this video since I'll be handling both the pencils and the inks. And I just do rough pencils in this one, and then I'm going to be busting into inks here pretty soon. And this commission is inked entirely with a brush pen, a Kuretake brush pen. And so I usually ink with Pigma Micron markers, but this time I felt with Venom and the texture of the symbiote gloopy, gloppy costume that would be better served to use a brush to get the different textures and really kind of texture out the black shades instead of just doing a flat black. As you see here, it's more of a just a different texture, just because I thought it'd look cool. And when you're working with a texture like this, doing the kind of the strokes here, you want the lines to conform to the shape of the the body of the character. So with each finger, and it'll be the same with Venom's head, his shoulders, his muscles. You want to consider the direction they're flowing, so it gives the right sort of volume. And I'm sure many of y'all will post, how do you know which direction to go? An easy trick, well, fairly easy. It'll take a little bit of study, a little bit of practice, but find a medical uh, drawing of the human musculature. Where you see the muscles, that it's all pink and red, and you see the white tendons. Look at that, and you'll see where muscles start and where they end, and you'll see in those medical drawings how the musculature will flow, and that will kind of help you kind of see how would you shape that out if you're not drawing a character with all its skin off. They'll give you a basis of knowing how to round out your figure. So hopefully that kind of helps there. And as you watch me ink here, you'll see that I'm choosing a certain direction for each plane of Venom's face, shoulders, muscles, etc. So as I continue here, it's a nice thing working with a brush pen is that you can get different line weights depending on how much pressure you put in applying the brush to the paper. So the harder I push down, the thicker the line will be. The lighter touch I have, the thinner the line will be, and that will help me with choice of details. Whether it's putting like the little details on the inside of his mouth here, the kind of striations of the teeth, the gums connecting to the teeth, or the little details inside the tongue or on the ridges of the teeth. You can really play around with that just with the brush marker alone. So a lot of people ask, how do I keep from smudging my inks while I'm inking? That's a problem that plagues artists and inkers for all time, really. It's you really got to be careful. Sometimes I'll twist the board. I do want to keep in mind, is the ink dry? Sometimes we don't think about that. Is the ink dry? If the ink's not dry, be careful that you don't get your palm sliding across there. And that's where I feel a lot of smudging comes from, whether it be in the pencils or in the inks, is that the pesky side palm coming across either really soft lead or has been applied to the paper, or fresh ink that has not completely dried. Even when it has dried, I try to be careful. I want to be mindful of the type of paper I'm working on, or type of artboard I'm working on, and the type of ink or pencil that I'm using. So this one I'm feeling fairly confident with, and I'm not needing to turn the image here as I ink. And sometimes I'll use a piece of paper. I'll put a piece of paper down and rest my palm on that to keep it from smudging across the board and getting a smear. Sometimes a smear happens even for us professionals, and the trick is hopefully it's not so bad that we can't find a way to work around it and hide that mistake. So as I go through here, sometimes I will as I see how the image is coming together, I realize I need to thicken line weights. So you'll see me kind of go back over lines I've already inked and make them thicker. I want to create the illusion of depth or pop, so I will make those choices as I go, and I see what is in the foreground that needs to look more in the foreground. So I'll go over thumbs and knuckles like I'm doing right there to give it a thicker line so it looks more in the foreground, and the thinner lines will make things look like they're farther in the background. So we'll continue here with, now I'm coming into the neck muscles and the shoulder, and I'll be picking the direction of the flow of those muscles and tendons and all those things that connect together to shade out how that's going to look. So as I come through here, treating each section as its own entity, it gets its own special attention. And then we got the big shoulder muscle here that I'll be coming in and doing the same thing, and then down into the upper arm and bicep as well. So let's see. So let's see if there are any other types of questions that y'all have been asking of late. Oh yeah, many of y'all have been asking about erasing. And when you've finished penciling and inking your piece, you go into erase, and then you find that the multiliner has pulled off of the page, and it's not as vibrant black. It's now more of kind of grayed out, and you feel like you have to go over it and re-ink some of those lines, and that can be pretty frustrating, and I've experienced that in the past. I don't seem to experience that as much. A lot of my interior or my professional comic book work, whether it be covers or interiors, I print out in blue line and then I ink over those blue lines so I don't have to erase at all. But when I'm doing a commission like this, or I've penciled and I go into ink, well, one, these, whether it be the Pentel pocket brush pen or like the Kuretake brush pen I'm using here, I can go and erase with confidence and it's not going to pull off the page. But with the multi-liners, sometimes that's going to happen. And I found, one, as I mentioned earlier, not to use too soft of a lead, and two, I try not to, since I'm not using as soft of a lead, an HB is which is what I use, is a really nice kind of middle ground between the hard and the soft, is that it's just light enough that I don't have to erase too hard. The pencil lines aren't ingrained into the page too much, so I don't have to erase too vigorously or with too much strength there that it doesn't pull off the page. The ink doesn't pull off the page as much. It can a little bit. Maybe I go in and do a little touch up, but it's not like I have to re-ink the whole piece. So try not to erase with too much gusto there. Some artists recommend using a kneaded gum erasers, those kind of gray clay looking erasers. Try using one of those, and it just kind of, you just dab and it pulls off the pencil. I haven't used those. I used pretty much just a block eraser, and I just get in there and erase, or a click erasing pen. I also like those too because I can get in with the fine erasing. So consider those when you're going in to do the erasing. So hopefully I've been able to address some of the smudging and smearing, ways to avoid smudging and smearing, and then ways to erase without having to re-ink entirely if you're inking with multi-liners. So it looks like I'm wrapping up this piece here, and part 2 will be the Copic color video in just a couple of weeks. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for sharing my videos with your friends. I appreciate it, and I'll see y'all soon.